Welcome to another episode of Roast Babble. I'm your host, Luke Quitz, and today we have a very special guest. He is Josh Means, the head of Roast Battle League Bay Area. Josh, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Luke. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that you started this podcast. You know what I mean? You were talking about it a lot in the Patreon, and I think RBL Weekly isn't enough of podcasts covering roast battles. So I think it's great that you did this and you've gotten the ball rolling with it.
Cheers, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. All I had to do was start doing it, and people are here. I'm interviewing you. I just interviewed Pat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Holy
Very
cow.
cool.
Yeah, it's all coming together. I mean, you gotta start somewhere. Speaking of that, you've been roast battling. Let's go back in time. Where did you start out with comedy in general? Like, how'd you get interested in stand-up comedy?
Just in stand-up comedy in general, I've always loved comedy. You know what I mean? Everybody loves comedy. Everybody loves to laugh. But like, I really enjoyed watching stand-up as a kid growing up. Roast specifically, I enjoyed, and roast comedians. My mom's favorite comedian was Lisa Lampanelli, which is nobody's favorite comedian, but my mom would always be showing me like, look at these clips, and it's just her roasting somebody. And I didn't really like think of it as an option for myself at that time. You know what I mean? I thought it was just the famous people, the comedians who could do that. And then one time I got a Groupon to go see a local show at Laughs Unlimited, and I went, and three of the four comics on the show were from Sacramento, and I was like, oh, they just live in town, like this isn't like a touring act, like I could just do this, like I could work on this and get better at it, and that's where I jumped in from there. Mikey Winfield invited me to a birthday roast he did, not even knowing that I like roasts also. I went and I told him afterwards, like, this was so much fun that like I know I have to get on stage. Like, I can't just have stage fright now, because me wanting to do it and actually doing it was like 3 or 4 years in between of just like, I'll do it eventually, but I was just too scared of failure, I guess. But it's not that bad.
It's like swimming, like it's all right up to your ankles, but it's better when you're moving your arms and legs too.
Yeah, exactly.
So that kind of answers my next question too. It wasn't just the comedy that drew you into being on stage. It was specifically the insult comedy element of it.
Yeah. I mean, they both pulled me in. I would say stand up pulled me in more so than roast did, but I was always a huge fan of the roasts, and just grew up with a bunch of black friends, so I was getting roasted constantly and had to be able to roast back if you wanted to stay in the circle.
Yeah.
So that was like my upbringing. And then roast battles, I when I started comedy is kind of when I found out about roast battles. Like, I knew about the celebrity roasts with the dais and everything, but I didn't know about the show on Comedy Central. I found out about it, I think, right after season 2, or maybe while season 2 was going on. And I was watching some of those. I fell in love with the Roast Masters clips that were on YouTube. And so when I got accepted into this festival in Seattle, like a year into comedy, they were like, check off every show you would do, and one of them was a roast battle, and I was like, of course I'll do a roast battle. That sounds like so much fun. And it was. I had a blast. Even though I only wrote for one person, even though it was a tournament. So I won my first battle and had nothing. Battle 2, which is tough, but I lied and said I didn't know it was a tournament. I knew it was a tournament. I just prepared for one person, and that's it. I didn't really fully from there, I was like, all right, in the moment, doesn't work like that. Can work like that, but it's tough.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we just have to have some roast shows in Sacramento. So we had one guy who had done one or two previously, but like a year or a year and a half before the time I was looking. Um, so it wasn't like I was stepping on any toes or anything. And then that bi-monthly show quickly turned into a monthly show. And then that monthly show, after we returned from COVID, turned into Roast Battle Bay Area when they when they started the Roast League. So it's been a
Beautiful.
wild ride.
So how did you connect with Roast Battle League, like the official brand?
I think it was, I had already battled a few times in LA. And so I knew Pat through that. I had one battle that I think that really stood out to Pat anyways. And that was my battle with Jason B. He's a comic that I don't even know where he's originally from, but was living in Sacramento for a while, then moved down to LA. When I started the roast battles in Sacramento, he was kind of one of our best battlers. And so when he moved down to LA, I was like, let's get you on the Comedy Store. I'll battle you and we'll have a fun battle. It'll be great. And then just like the luck of the lineup, we ended up in the main room instead of the belly room, and me and Jason ended up headlining. So we got to or main eventing. So we got to go last in the main room, and it was like this great show, and we had a fantastic battle that we had roasted each other before multiple times. So it it looked good, and then I felt like that left an impression on Pat. And I was like, I run these shows up in Sacramento. We're expanding to San Francisco soon. I would love to do a like Bay versus LA battle, and bring some of our top battlers just down to the Comedy Store. Like, to be able, one of the whole reasons I started the one in Sacramento is so people could in Sacramento could go down to LA or New York and do roast masters or roast battle at the Comedy Store. Um, so I was like, I had this dream of doing like a Sacramento versus LA, and we did it. I like, there was one time where whatever year the league started, around January 1st, I posted this like cheesy Facebook post about like my goals for the year and what happened last year. And one of my goals was to do a Bay versus LA event. And Pat Barker commented on it and said, I know somebody who can make that LA versus Bay thing happen. And I was like, oh shit, like that is the guy that can make it happen. So we did that event, and that was when I got to LA to do that event. uh Moses and Pat talked to me and like told me about the league and what they were going to do, and said that they were like interested in bringing us on as one of the leagues because we had some great battlers. I think in my mind we still do, but like the battlers that they saw then don't even battle anymore aside from myself. So like we got some good leeway with that LA versus the Bay battle.
Yeah, your league has gone through a lot of changes over the years, from losing venues and finding new ones to roster changes. Like you say, you're one of the only original members of the Bay Area roster now.
Yeah. Yeah, there I mean there's a lot of Bay Area members that have been doing it for a few years, but it is the majority of like the comics that are doing it weren't here before the league started. The majority of people who were are like they would just rather judge now, or because judging they get to do a stand-up set, they get a little less pressure. Everybody would rather judge, but a lot of the people that are wanting to battle are these like up and coming comics, these newer comics, at least in the Bays scene. Apart from, you know, our core 8 to 10 comics. It's been like mainly newer people, and people just keep rising to the occasion. Dakota Fry last year was not doing many battles before the season last year, and just came on like, I want to battle everybody, and by the way, they're going to be the most fun battles. So
Your division came third in 2024 in the American Western with 102 points.
yes, just losing by like 1.5 points to Austin. It was very disappointing. That happened on the very last week of the season, which it didn't matter. Like, if that would have been for the wild card spot, I would have lost my mind. But but just being for nothing, just being for second place, it did piss me off. So I'm very excited to see how things turn out this season. I'm trying to talk a little less shit than I did last year, but I think we have a really good shot of winning it. I think we've got a good shot, especially because now that they're doing a wild card. But adding Paige Wesley, if you take away the points Paige Wesley got for LA and the points that San Diego and Phoenix got for LA, it's not as big of a as it was at the end of the season. And now those points are going to go to the WRBL. The Paige Wesley points are going to come to the Bay Area, her rightful birthplace. But I will say it wasn't just a free agency signing for Paige. They got Lexi Achinelli in the trade. So
Not as many people are aware of that. Lexi is an LA battler now.
Lexi is an LA battler now. I found out about it when Pat sent out the fantasy sheet, but it is what it is.
Damn.
To be fair, Lexi told me that's when she found out too, but it wasn't like there's no conspiring. But that first year, I think before there was kind of like a test run of the RBL League before they started the first season. There was like a super long preseason. Um, and in that time, we had these two battlers, Ashley Monique and Morgan Anderson, who were dominant. Both of them were like undefeated for the start of their roast battle career, taking down the top names we had. They went down to the LA versus the Bay event and dominated some top names down there. And then now they don't roast at all. Morgan also lives in LA, but Ashley's like retired from roasts, and I was like, how are we gonna rebuild? But people just keep popping up, and even if they're not great, they're willing to learn. They're willing to try stuff out. They're willing to take criticism and have fun, and that's what it's all about. So it's been very cool.
That's great. I live on the Atlantic coast here with a lot of fishermen and whatnot, and there's an old saying that the beatings will continue until morale improves. And I like to see people doing that crucible, standing in the fire and trying not to get burned, showing up over and over again, and maybe not even knowing why a lot of the time until one night it
Yes.
hits them, you know?
Yes. We've had a couple people in the Bay Area who are like really good roast battlers now, but their first few battles, especially like Artie Valenzuela, one of our best battlers. Maybe his record's not always the best, but just like Dakota, always a very entertaining battle. He's a good target, but he also hits on a lot of things towards other people. He's a good writer. His first 4 or 5 battles, he just got stomped by his opponent, and it was like, why do you keep doing this? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he was also one of the only people that would like post these pro wrestling-esque promos calling out his opponent or like talking smack, which I love that aspect of it. That's why I talked shit to Brian Moses last year. That's why I did the rap diss song.
Oh, that's
um
great, by the way.
it- oh, thank you. But since Artie still had such a great like demeanor about it, and he was losing, and he wasn't doing great, but he was having fun, and he was giving back to the show. It was like, I'm gonna obviously keep booking you, and then he's done well enough to perform at the Comedy Store 4 or 5 times, the Mothership, and he gets on our show all the time. He just did Roast Fest, so it's very cool to see the people that stick through it and put in the work.
Hell yeah, man. I love to see it too. It's speaking of that, you mentioned that RBL points are going to be going to B division. You guys in the Bay Area do it a little bit differently as far as the format's concerned. The number of jokes is different and the rules are a little bit different from what I understand. And beyond that, you are the first people to have a B division.
We don't have a B division. We have like Cisco and Sacramento belts, but we don't have we're not part of the WRBL.
Well, I mean, not an official B division, but what is that other part of your league?
The Mark Maple
The
division.
Mark Maple division, yes.
Yes,
The
yeah,
original B
we
league.
did start. Yeah, that was very fun. Coming up to with that. I'll get into that in just a minute. There was one other thing I wanted to. I just forgot it. It's fine.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. The Mark Maple division is so with roast battle, like you can get all kinds of different characters that do these roast battles. Like you might get just a straight comic, you might get a goofy comic, but there's also I heard Pat talking about it on your last episode. There's a very low bar for the booking of roast battles. Like sometimes it's not even people who do comedy all the time, but like they're like, I would love to do a roast battle, and you give them a shot because you don't know. Anybody can be good at this, but there's also just a plethora of like autistic comedians, and that was kind of where I came up with this idea. I booked a show where it was Subhash Sharma versus who was it? Danny Till, I think was his uh, first opponent. No, Stephen Ferris. Subhash Sharma and Stephen Ferris. These two. I mean, if you follow Roast Battle, you know kind of the legend of Subhash Sharma. You don't know the legend of Stephen Ferris. You don't need to, but he's a unique individual. Um, and I enjoyed that battle so much that I was like, I'm just gonna book one battle like this every time. Like every month, I'm gonna book one battle that's just outlandish comic A versus outlandish comic B. And maybe it's not going to be good, but the judges will be good making fun of it. And hopefully it like brings that same energy um, that I saw in that first one. And so next month I book Stephen Ferris again. He beat Subas. So I book Stephen Ferris versus this guy, Mark Maple, who's very funny comic. But like what you would expect from like a 90s teenager. Like he's into corn, he's got spiky hair, like doesn't make sense that this is still the look he's going with. But I booked their battle, and while he's on stage, he's like, fucking Josh Means is booking a special needs division. And I was laughing because I was like, he caught me. He's on to me, and he called me out on it on stage. And the next month, I do the same thing. I book another battle like that, Subhash Sharma versus Danny Till. I don't book Mark Maple, but he is in the audience to watch the show. And I the audience, I was like, last month, Mark Maple said I'm making a special needs division. I just think it's so much funnier to dub it the Mark Maple division. And so that's what we did. Subas hated the division from then on out. I don't even know if he won or lost every battle, but it didn't matter. He walked away with the title. He
Yeah.
was he, the energy he brought was annoying sometimes, because the battles would go so long, they wouldn't make any sense, but the audience loved it. So it was very fun to see that happen. That's that see him take the reins on that division that I created.
Subas is a very interesting character to me. Like Bay Area is the division of underdogs to me. You're like the underdog MVP division. And Subas is a great example of that. When he started out, I wasn't sure that he had ever really done comedy before. Like
Yeah.
just
Uh,
watching him on stage, try like you could almost see the gears turning as he processed why people enjoyed seeing somebody do this.
yes. Subas did a roast battle at the old venue, before COVID, before it got shut down, and he was on a battle. He battled this white guy, and the white guy dropped the N word in the battle. The battle, they had no punchlines. Then the white guy drops the N word. It's the most awkward battle we've ever had. Uh, in the judging portion, come to the like final result is a three-way loss. Subas loses, Chris loses, the audience loses. Not even a tie, it's just a flat out loss for everybody. I told Subas that night, I will never book you again, Subas. This was terrible. Like, that sucked. And then years later, whatever it was, 3 or 4 years later, I'm at a open mic, and Subas is the funniest one of the night. And I was like, why am I laughing at this? But like, everybody else is too. This isn't just me laughing because it's going poorly for him. Like, this
Yeah,
is me enjoying his set. And so I was like, I'll book him for another show. And that was when I booked him for that battle against Stephen Ferris.
that really speaks to the arc that people can get on developmentally if they join an event like yours. It's
Absolutely.
very, very cool to see. He's one of my favorites. I mean, your division's full of favorites, though. Like you've got Paige Wesley, you've got Dakota Fry, you've got anti-heroes as well. The other kind of underdog. It's it's really stacked for 2025. I feel like Bay Area is a bit of a powder keg right now.
I agree. I think we've got some fun battles that are possible this season. Just not even thinking of like Paige Wesley battles, but like apart from that, all the names you mentioned, uh, the Logan Fars, the people who battled last year but kind of took a break for a little while, like Deep Tonshu and Alicia Dillon, who's currently our San Francisco champion. But our San Francisco venue is shut down for renovation, so
Uh,
can't really defend the title. But we have so many battlers. I can't wait to be like halfway into the season and see like where we're at. You know what I mean? And see if we can keep it up throughout the rest of the season.
yeah, I was talking about that with Pat too. It's exciting. We're at the top of the 2025 season for the listeners, and it's like when both sides of an epic battle in a movie are facing each other and like going towards each other. You know that clash is going to be epic, but no idea what to expect yet from any of divisions within the U.S. or whatever. Fuck, it's bigger names than that. I don't have them pulled up right now. Within the Eastern and Western America division and the
Mm-hmm.
Eastern and Western Global division.
Yeah, there's so many names.
Is there anyone from your division that you think is on a particularly quick arc up right now? Do you think there's someone or some ones, a few that you're watching 2025 here, like that you think are going to do good?
Apart from like the favorites that have been talked about the last couple seasons, my three favorites are Avery Dower, who just did maybe two or three battles at the end of last season. His first battle was against me. Um, and I mean, he started comedy just a couple months before that. And I think two of his three battles made it onto RBL. He's going to be great. My other two are I'm remembering one of them, but I was going to save her for last. Cookie Williams is dominating. She lost her battle at Rose Fest, but I think that's only going to be better for her going forward throughout the season. Kind of put her mind right and get her like focused on, all right, I actually got to be coming prepared, because her charisma is off the charts, but when she's actually writing is when she's next level. She actually beat the third name, our new Sacramento champion, Britt Beer. Britt is somebody who's done a few roasts for us over the last few years, but like really stepped it up since the league started, and now our Sacramento champion. She's going to be defending the title quite a bit. Hopefully, I mean, unless she loses, but I think she's going to have a good arc this season as well.
Hell yeah. I just watched Rose Fest Night 1 and 2, and for anyone who hasn't, go watch that. There's some incredible writing in there, and that's what it's all about for me. I know that so many people get so many different things from Roast Battle, but for me, it's the writing. I'm all about the writing. I love that it's a showcase of your wit, and it's very much rule of mind. Like, you can't just walk in and punch someone in the face and say I win. Like, you have to be on your game mentally, or you've got to be able to read the room. It's hard to put odds on something like Roast Battle, because a lot of times, yeah, it is skill based, but a lot of times it's not. It's chaos. It's in the moment. It's catching the spark, kind of, you know. So for you, how much of your presence on stage when you're up there roasting and hosting is in the moment, and how much of that is sort of pre-rehearsed, pre-written?
Um, I don't know. I would say maybe like 50-50. I try to, when we first started them, I was like, I had something pre-written for every battle. I was like, I want this to be a good show, so I want to know that I'm having good jokes in between the battles. Um, and then after a little while, and it kind of coincided with us moving to the Punchline in Sacramento, I was like, I feel like I'm hampering myself when I'm writing, because I would only just do that one joke whatever one joke I wrote, that's the joke I would do. Maybe I'd write two, but like, if I only had those jokes, that's what I stuck with. I wasn't like writing in the moment during the show. And I feel like it was just a better challenge for myself. I kind of challenged myself, honestly, to like try and write often as I can. And then on top of that, I have all of these jokes backlogged that I've used about other people who look similar or who have similar hobbies. And so if I can't think of anything in the moment, I kind of go back to a one that's like a tried and true, like a regular that's worked for me before. But I try and have like as many off the cuff, in the moment moments as possible, because I think it adds to the show and it makes it unique. And I feel like every single roast battle show is different no matter what. Like, you can have the exact same battlers and judges, but different battles, and have an entirely different show.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing my host set and all that, like, I'm putting on on the same show every month. I want to be doing different stuff. I want to be not giving them the same material, just the same everything. I wanted to be able to switch it up. And so I felt like if I got better at that, I felt like if I challenged myself to do it, I would get better at it. And it's kind of worked. Sometimes it works.
I've been following your career as a host by virtue of following Roast Battle and whatnot, and your growth as a host shows too. It shows that you're always working to see what you can improve, change, and make more dynamic. Like it's appreciated. This year, I think you're making a great show of things so far. Roast Fest was great. The hosting was top tier, and your on-stage presence. I thought that you might have liked, and this is clapping back to what we were talking about earlier. I thought you might have liked the older Friars Club roasts because
Oh, absolutely.
when you're up there with that mic in your hand, you've got that sort of Friars Club swagger about you. You know, it's wry in the same way a little bit. It reminded me of that stuff. I thought maybe that guy's a fan.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because I am. And I love hosting so much because I get to roast that many people. Like, even if I don't have a co-host, I get to roast the two battlers. I get to roast the three judges. And then I added a co-host just as a way to kind of make my show different than the other roast battles back before it was Roast Battle Bay Area, back when we were verbal insults. Um, but I just had so much fun with the co-host on stage and like them riffing off what they say or when they bomb or when they do great, whatever. Like it's so much fun to me to be able to like have that many people I can make fun of or just like interact with. And you don't get those just in a straight one-on-one roast battle.
It's like another form of training, another form of sparring for your writing skills.
Absolutely. And I love the dais roast. I've only got to do maybe like 4 of them, but they're the most fun to be able to like structure a set where I'm making fun of everybody. And like, speaking of lesbians, this guy is here, like whatever, like those silly little jokes, whatever, are so fun to me. It's so fun to write for those. So if anybody's listening to this and you're booking one, book me, Pat.
You've got a special out on YouTube, Josh Means Business. Watch that too, everybody.
It's all right.
At the end of it, turns into a roast of you at your own special. I think that's a beautiful way to do it. You know, like
thank you.
The special is celebrating your comedy, and we roast the ones we love, so it's like the follow up right away. Very fun to watch you get beat down.
And yeah, that was a fun night. That was a fun roast. Some of the people in that brought some hard hitting jokes, so that was fun. That's something I kind of want to do on all my specials just going forward. I think that would be very cool to end it with like my friends that I'm close with at that time of my career, whatever, having them roast me at the end of my special would be so fun. And then I only have to put out a 20-minute special.
That's what it is. We got you.
Smart.
That's a really cool way, though, in my mind, to hallmark those moments, like to create a point of reference for who you were at that time as well and who was around you.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool, man. I'm a big fan of the old stuff, too. I love Don Rickles, Dean Martin, all the old boys, and I've been following it since then. So now I'm excited to see that Roast Battle League official brand, when you get into their broadcast channel on Instagram, it's called Friars Club. So
yeah,
we're still here. We're out here. Everyone is still out here. And,
we're making it work.
You know, it's
keeping it alive.
Yeah, it's as much love as you put in. And again, thanks for all your efforts in that way. In order to lead an event like this, you've got to be a community facilitator in a lot of ways. You know, you're running phone calls and emails and text messages and sometimes even spreadsheets if you're, that kind of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I was listening to the episode with Pat, and he was saying something about how like people don't know, like there are people in some cities that don't even know the RBL's going on, and like to me, I'm like, what is that commissioner doing? Like, how do people not know? Like, I've been telling everybody about it. I'm posting about it. I'm trying to make it a thing. I'm trying to make people aware because it's a great community thing. Like even apart from like trying to win the roast battle championship or trying to prove how good I am at roast battling, apart from all that, the roast battles are most fun shows. It's like everybody there is your best friend. So it's so cool to like have a show like that every month, and like even outside of the show, like we're friends outside of the show now. So to have that community is so cool, and I think other regions need to step it up.
Me too. I keep on tapping on it. Like there's so much opportunity when you get the jersey, as it were. Like what you do with it is up to you. It's like any club. I mean, it's kind of like an art club for your mind, but like no one wants to draw the same picture of a stick man every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, but with some of these cities, I'm not even seeing stick men. At least
that's
draw a
the
stick
issue.
man and hold it up to the screen for me and do something,
Yes.
guys. Because it shows who's putting in the effort. I talked about this with Pat as well. Like it's it's worthy. It's worthy of getting out there because now it's not just having a beer with your friends. It's a global league. It's a national league. There's a minor league. Like
Yes.
it's
And
blowing
even
the fuck
if
up.
you're, say, Montreal and you get eliminated 2 months in because you have nothing to show for it, you can't just stop submitting battles because you might get kicked out of the league. With the relegation system now, with the WRBL, a team moving up, I think that's so fun. I think it's a great way to keep everybody kind of involved and invested. Because I was thinking, like, when the NFL season's over, when the NBA season's over, yeah, those teams go to the playoffs, but all the fans of the non-playoff teams, what are they looking forward to? The NBA draft, the NFL draft. There's no draft for roast battles. So like we don't really know we're going to get better if we don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just kind of working and like having that community whatever, but like now that it's like you really do want to make the playoffs so that or like a good showing so that you don't get relegated to the WRBL or out of the league completely.
I
I
love
think
that.
it's so cool, the competitiveness.
Yeah, me too. It adds an element there, like it demystifies the whole process in a big way. It starts out with a little breadcrumb trail, and the trail can turn into a fucking golden road if you want it to. It's really about where you like to walk, and
Yeah.
I love that so much. I love that, man. Like it's you're a phone call away from anybody at any time, and you just gotta want it. You gotta want to do it. You gotta want it bad enough that content's going to your channel. It's going to
Yeah.
YouTube. You're making that Instagram clip with the fucking subtitles. Yeah, it is work, and no one's paying you for it, but like. That's how
Yeah.
anything starts. That's how anything starts. Even a local music show, a punk show, you've got to make the flyers. This is very much a grassroots thing. Everything starts at home. So
Hell yeah.
I'm proud. I'm proud to see the divisions that are taking the wheel, taking the reins, and fucking flying forward. Japan is doing it on a global scale. Scotland's
Yes.
pumping shit out. We've got a lot of potential here. I'm excited to see who elevates themselves and gets elevated here in the 2025 season.
Me too. I can't wait. It's really been cool to see like kind of the different stars that have been made each season. You know what I mean? Like Nate Welch and Tom Goss last year both put on phenomenal shows, and like Pat talking about walking around with Nate Welch in London and like Nate being recognized, like that's crazy to me. But it's just so cool to see, like you said, the people who get elevated and take the reins and what they do with it.
It's so fucking frustrating to me to watch sometimes because you get people up there in front of a global audience scratching their ass basically on stage. Like they don't put
Yes.
in the effort and it shows. And there are a lot of people out there who are not given that opportunity. I don't think anyone's really just handed an opportunity. You know, you've got to be at the right place at the right time, even if it's at the club to say, hey, I want a roast battle for a free year.
Yeah.
But there are people out there that could really use those opportunities and take a lot less for granted along the way, I think. So hopefully they're getting hungry seeing on a global scale people just sort of scratch their ass into a microphone and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah, and then not just that, but seeing the great content that's like being put out by all these other, by London, by Scotland, by LA, New York, Chicago, all of these places are putting out this incredible content, these incredible battles,
Yeah.
and I feel like that can be just as motivating.
You sign yourself up for the A team, basically. If you've got the chops, there's nothing stopping you. There's no what did Pat say? There's a very low barrier of entry to roast
Hmm.
battle. So if you think you're the fucking Tom Brady of roasting, get in. Like jump up. I'm excited. It's getting bigger all the time. The top of the mountain is getting further and further away as I watch. Like it's in real time. We're a part of this. It's history in the making.
Yeah,
We're a part of something that's emerging, but that doesn't mean it's gone when we take off from it. We've got a little section on this show that we like to call the mailbag. The mailbag. These are questions from viewers, Patreon members, and in this case, even a roast battler. So
oh yeah.
we've got two questions. The first one is from, we haven't even talked about the fact that you host a roast writing class, but this is from a member of your first round of roast writing classes, Marty McCullough in Ireland.
Oh, this is gonna be a rude question.
You know him, I see.
Yeah.
If roast battle is to take off worldwide, what business model do you see adopting? Example, McDonald's, Amway, CrossFit, etc.
Oh, the WWE. I mean, I've said for years that roast battle is just word wrestling entertainment. That was even what I wanted to name the show back in the day instead of verbal insults. But I think just having that style of and reach is the way to go.
That's a great answer. And clapping back to what you were saying earlier about loving to see the wrestling style promos coming from Artie, I love that too. This is very much a hype based movement. Like you get the chance like you would in a wrestling arena and
Yeah.
whatnot or any sports event. We're cage fighters doing this. So why not
Yes.
really amplify it up to that next level?
Yeah. The first ever roast battle I did at the Comedy Store, the first joke opponent Saul Trujillo said, the first thing he said about me was, most people call Josh a redhead. I call him an AIDS face. And then the entire crowd chanted AIDS face at me. And I was so much fun. Like it was so funny to like see that happen. And like it reminded me of this like pro wrestling thing. Like I was the heel and they were like chanting bullshit at me or whatever. Like it was so fun. And like that's when I was like, this is what roast battles are. Like it's not just whatever bullshit I was doing in Sacramento at the time. Like these are next level.
Well, that's it. We're getting there. Like we now got these championship belts that float around for different divisions and whatnot. We've got champions of divisions. We've got playoffs, which is like we're getting to. I think we're on the cusp of a Royal Rumble era here. Like we're gonna start seeing our Hulk Hogan's and Ultimate Warriors and Brutus the
Yes,
Beefcakes coming out of the woodwork here. Uh,
I agree.
Next question is from another member of your class and also a roast battler new in 2025, Chrissy Healy. She's got a rapid fire list of questions for you. So here we go down the
Okay.
gauntlet. Favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
All right,
Just like cookies and cream ice cream.
done. Favorite munchies?
Fuck. I don't know. Like not goldfish. Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its.
There you go. If I had to answer it, it would be all of them. Uh,
Yeah, that's probably a better answer.
this is getting away from the favorites, but a part of the compound question nonetheless. The hardest person that you've ever battled in regards to writer's block or the toughest writing process?
Ryan Nesson. That was the hardest one for me for a multitude of reasons. I talked about it on the RBL Weekly I did, where I filled in for Pat a couple weeks ago.
Shout out.
I said that he's a boring white guy, which is a very tough to write for. Give me some type of slur I can say. Give me some type of stereotype to use. Not that white guys don't have stereotypes, but have as much info to like go off of. And I was just personally in like the worst point of my life. I was going through a divorce. He had just gotten married, so like, and not only like I just gone through a divorce, but like the weekend before our battle was like the worst of it. So like even driving down to LA that whole time, I'm just like in a completely weird mood. And then we have our battle, and I felt like I didn't give the effort I wanted to give, and then seeing what he became after that, the LA champion, the Roast Battle League champion. I
Yeah.
definitely want a rematch with that with like my full effort in it.
I
Same
love
with Paige. I already want to rematch Paige because I didn't give her my best effort. I was more focused on Roast Fest.
I love that there are a lot of lessons in roast battle. I keep on hitting on that, but I especially love that there are a lot of lessons that you only want to learn once. Like
Yes,
when you fall off the bike because you did something stupid, you don't want to do that stupid thing again. You know,
exactly.
what was your biggest bomb talking about being uncomfortable on stage?
Ooh, let's see. Honestly, I bombed so hard just like 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't my worst, but I'll try and think of my worst one. Um,
Well, what happened 2 weeks ago? It's on your mind. Let's talk about it.
yeah, 2 weeks ago I did. This actually goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. Mikey Winfield had another birthday show at the Punchline, and it wasn't specified as like a birthday roast. He just had like a headlining weekend show. But he said like he's gonna have some comics come out and roast him when he posted about it on social media. And I was like, I'll be one of those comics. I'll go out and roast him. I hit him up. We're good friends. He's given me a lot of opportunities since I started. And I was like, I'm gonna come through and roast you. And that first night, they hadn't seen Mikey Winfield yet, and they were like a comedy audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started telling these roast jokes, and I asked them first, like, Mikey wanted me to come roast him. Like, does that sound good to you guys? And they said, yeah. And like, they cheered, whatever. Like, they seemed into it. And then from there, they didn't like one of my jokes. Like, it felt as if the host paid them to not laugh at my jokes with how hardly they like froze out jokes that I've told before that I know are funny, that the other comics were like telling me afterwards, like, those were funny jokes, but like seeing you eat shit up there was beautiful. So like that one sticks out the most right now just because it is so fresh. But like, not to talk shit, but it doesn't, not to like flex. It doesn't happen that often. Usually when it does, it's like, it's because I'm in a weird mood and like I'm not adjusting and I'm just powering through like jokes that they don't want to hear. Uh,
You ever
but
catch like unironic boos from the audience? Like, was someone actually mad at you in the audience ever?
yeah, um, kind of. I had this one lady boo me. I've had a couple people boo me. There was one lady. There was one fun boo and one like drunk boo. The drunk lady just like started yelling at me that I was an asshole and need to be canceled. Because I said bitch in a joke, but I was like, I wasn't talking about that lady, and I wasn't calling the person I was talking about a bitch. I was just saying let the bitch celebrate, like that. And so she tried like yelling something, and then I said what, and she tried yelling it again and stopped herself and like went to say it again. And I was like, no, go ahead. Third time's the charm. You'll nail it this time. And she got so mad at me. Her friends had to like drag her out. Uh, and that was funny to me. But that was probably like the maddest somebody's been. I've had a couple people that have messaged me the next day being like, I didn't like the way you talked about this, or uh, you said fuck you to my girlfriend. This one guy, I said something like, I shouted out a comic's birthday, and this one guy was like, it's my girlfriend's birthday. And I was like, fuck your girlfriend. And then like everybody laughed, and that was it. It wasn't like, it wasn't serious. But then he got mad. He said I ruined his girlfriend's night because I said that, which is fine. There was one time I was doing a show in Oregon, and I started making fun of the WNBA, and this lady in the front row started booing me, but she was fine. She wasn't like super mad. And I was like, "Oh, you're a fan of the WNBA? Go to the games." Like that's always my go-to is like go to the games because they're so light. Like nobody's ever there playing or watching. That's the joke I try and go with. And then turns out this lady was her dad was the coach of the Seattle Storm, who've won multiple WNBA titles. She was an assistant coach on the team. Like she knew Sue Bird. She knew like she knew all
Damn.
these like incredible women's basketball players, and I was just like, go to a game, bitch. Like, uh, so that one was fun for me. I looked like a fool, and I enjoyed that. I enjoy when I look like a fool and I can laugh about it. But and she did too, so that made it easier. But those were the memorable times being booed.
That's one hell of an ambush. This is the last little bit of our mailbag here. Someone wants to know, and it's hard for me to think about things in terms of best or worst because things apply differently in different situations. Like you were just saying, you had jokes that you knew were good that bombed in front of another room. And it happens. And not every room is the same, but they want to know the best joke you've ever written.
Huh. Damn. That's a good question. Um, that best is hard. Like that's. I wish I would have thought of that. I'm trying to think of like the ones that have landed the hardest.
Or failing
I'll
best
say,
joke, like, yeah, most memorable
yeah, I'll
pop on
say my
stage.
favorite one. And we talked about him earlier, Jason B. He was like our best battler when I was starting out hosting, but I didn't battle that much when we were here because I was normally hosting them. But I did somebody else's, like I did a tournament, and me and Jason ended up meeting in the finals of the tournament. Actually, I lost in the second to last round, like the final four. I lost in the final four, but the guy I lost to did so bad against Jason. They were like, let's give Josh a shot. Uh, and me and Jason had a better battle, but Jason clearly won. Uh, and then after that, we did this rap battle tournament. This comic Chelsea Bierce was hosting this rap battle, and I was like, I've got this in the bag. I had like bars lined up for all my opponents, and then day of, somebody that I would have faced in round two, their opponent dropped out. Jason B got added in, and he was just such a quick rider, and I wasn't at that time. And we ended up battling in round two, and he whooped my ass. Uh, and so like he had beat me in a roast battle, he beat me in a rap battle, and then we were supposed to battle again. And I was like, I'm fucking tired of losing to this guy. Like, how can I counterpunch him with something, whatever. Uh, and so I started our next battle saying like, Jason's a great battler. He's beat me in a rap battle. He's beat me in a roast battle. He's beat me so many times, I'm starting to look like his girlfriend. And that got like a great reaction every time I've used it every time I've hosted with him, like done a show with him, whatever. Like that's my go-to line now, and it works 100% of the time. And that was a fun one for me, just to like hear the reaction when I said it, to see his reaction. He really enjoyed it. Uh, those moments are really fun. When I battled Logan at the Comedy Store was super fun. Seeing some like hearing him say some things and like that I hadn't heard before, me saying some that he hadn't heard before. That was a special battle.
Right, yeah, Logan Farr, your co-host now for the season of RBL.
He'll co-host some of them, but uh, I like to bounce around co-host. Dakota will co-host some. Maybe Paige will co-host some. Um, and then some of them I might host by myself, but not always Logan.
I love it. I love it. You're keeping us on our toes, Josh.
Yes, yes, all of you except Logan.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. The only thing on his toes is that train.
Yeah.
Um, so your format in Bay Area, Pat mentioned it's a little bit different. How many jokes do you guys do?
Yeah, oh yeah. When I said I wanted to talk about something earlier, but I forgot what it was. That's what it was. What is the different format that we do? The only thing we do differently is we do four jokes instead of three or five. LA, they do their three for the undercard, five for the main card. I was always like, let's just split it in the middle, four jokes each. But talking to some people throughout the last couple weeks, I might move the main events up to five jokes, and maybe even move the undercards down to three. Um, but yeah, I liked how it was just somewhere in the middle, and it was like right in the middle, and it's not too much. You know what I mean? When we first started, we did some three rounders. Uh, we did three rounders. I tried some 2-on-2 matches. I tried triple threats, hardcore match. We did all these crazy things. The hardcore match I'm probably bringing back this year. That's where if a comic says a joke that bombs, we hit him in the head with a cookie sheet.
I love that.
That was fun. But so I tried all these things, but like didn't always work out. So like we went back to just like the normal one-on-ones, and 4 jokes instead of 3 rounds or multiple rounds. But what did he say was the what are the other things we do
No,
differently?
I think that was the main difference was the amount of jokes. You guys do 4, and
Okay.
yeah, everyone does a little different. Like New York does the 3 rounds, Scotland does 8,000 jokes per round,
Yes,
multiple rounds. Like
exactly.
it's I love that it depends on, again, who's making the rules. It's like whoever's the leader of that community is sort of dictating how it goes on stage, and we're the filter, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And I don't know if there probably should be some type of like line across the board, like this is the standard that we're going to follow, but I kind of like that everybody kind of has their own unique edge. Like you said, the Scotland, they have this every time I'm watching a battle from them, I know it's going to be super long, but like they have a fun style. They have a fun back and forth, a fun rapport. It's cool to see the uniqueness and the edge that each city brings or each region brings.
yeah, there's vibes out there, man. You you can feel it. Like everything that New York posts feels like New York. LA feels like LA. Bay Area feels like
Yes.
you know. There's if you're a fan of Rose Battle League, you sort of start knowing what to expect when those weekly battles start popping up. The only time it's ever confused me is on RBL Weekly when they're all side by side and the rules are different 3-4 matches in a row, you know.
Yes.
But again, it's like the fact that it's sort of like a mountain with a peak or a pyramid or whatever you want to call it. There's a trackable structure just like in a tournament, and at the bottom it's all chaos, and the closer you get to the global tournament and whatnot and the global championship, the more structure gets sort of chipped away until it's all the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, it lets everybody be everybody. Like there's no you shouldn't do it like that. That's happening for the most part. Like the bar of entry to be an organizer for roast battle is also low, but we shouldn't talk about that because we're gonna enter our everyone's a DJ era here pretty soon. I think it's like you
Yeah.
cited Liza Lampanelli of all people and the Friars Club roasts, but were there any other comedians that like really got you thinking as a young man?
Patrice O'Neill was one of my favorites as a kid. Greg Giraldo, hilarious. And then as I was like getting a little older, Louis, and I was a huge fan of Kevin Hart. Not as much now, but he had a huge influence on me. Kevin Hart and Cat Williams, both very very funny. Like those were like my top 2 at one point. But I would say those guys from when I was younger, and then now it's like Big J Okerson, Tony Hinchcliffe, Shane Gillis. Those are like my top 3 that I like to watch. I like enjoy.
I love it. Are you a fan of the Kill Tony format?
Yeah, yeah. I've been a huge fan of Kill Tony for a long time. Signed up multiple times, never been on, but have I've had my friend who's with me on like 6 times. Like somebody that like is in my group, and that's pissed me off.
Damn.
But it's also like how random it is. I would love one thing that we do a little differently at Roast Battle Bay Area is we roast audience members at the end, which we don't always do. A lot of our last few shows have gone on too long that I've just ended them early, but we usually roast people from the audience, and I love that randomness, that completely like unscripted, unfiltered, what is going to happen comedy. that's fun to me, and I think that's a lot of what Kill Tony is. Uh, and that was kind of like how I tried to emulate Kill Tony was my we started off calling it the Wheel of Misfortune. We put everybody's name on a wheel, and that said that they were in to get roasted, and then we spun the wheel and like called them onto the stage. And then we've stopped doing that, but I maybe we'll bring that back because that was just fun. But that was my bucket. You know what I mean? To get somebody random who might be batshit, who might be clinically insane, and we'll give them a golden ticket.
Even at the stand, we're doing that, and I know the stand wasn't your venue, but you're very much involved there. Like, so much grassroots vibe in the Bay Area. Like you, in the face of not having a venue to do this, and did it in someone's backyard, essentially.
Yeah, we've done that before. Done that multiple times. Literally, I messaged somebody today about doing one in their backyard to get some battles in, because since Roast Fest happened on the first and the second, I only have until the 1st and the 2nd of April to submit those. That the battles, they still count as wins and losses, but they don't count towards RBL. So I was like, I need a new venue, and ours isn't working right now. So I literally did that today. Again, like, I'll go back to it. I'll go back to a shitty dive bar to do a roast battle underground style show, with some newer comics and see if any of them pop off. That was how I found Lexi Acinelli. She did one of our shitty bar shows and kicked the shit out of her opponent.
That's great. You guys are like the fight club of divisions here too.
Yes.
I like attributing all these things to you. I mean, the more descriptors and characteristics you can sort of give things, the more people know what to expect. Like we're all building our sort of wrestling personas, you could say, in real time, even the divisions. So
Yes.
it's nice. Getting back to it, I always get sidetracked, and I love when you bring people up on stage from the audience, and it's always consensual. Is there anybody that would like to volunteer themselves to get roasted?
Yeah.
And they stand in front of people that have roasted on stage throughout the evening. Like it's like you're getting gang roasted basically.
Yes.
In that setting.
And that's another thing that I can kind of pitch to the comics that are on the show. Like, you're gonna battle, but also we do this thing at the end where, like, you're gonna be able to roast people, but there's no pressure on them. You know what I mean? The pressure is on me and whoever my co-host is, because we're on stage. But like, to them, it's just, hey, look at this person. If you see something you think is funny, walk over to the judges table and say it. And I think that's been very cool for a lot of comics. Really take advantage of that, and that's always fun to me.
How are your numbers for signups this season? Like, do you struggle to have people join, or when they sort of show up for a show, do they catch the vibe and get in there?
The numbers for signups this year have been fantastic. We have so many people that want to sign up. It's honestly kind of going to be difficult to make it work with everybody throughout the season. Like, I have so many people reaching out to me asking about being on a show, and the Cobb's being shut down for renovations has, like, they canceled like 12 comics, whatever. If you like, that's like 6 battles on each show, 12 battles. That's a lot of comics that aren't getting up on those shows. So it's going to be rough. I think we have too many people, which is a good problem to have. I can't be mad at that. Having people that want to do my show, want to be a part of the league, but it is going to be difficult to decide, because I also want to make sure that Dakota gets his battles, that Paige gets her battles, Logan, Cookie, Drew, Deep Tonshu, Jack Weiler, Emily Rudolph. There's so many people that, like, deserve to have battles that get submitted and deserve to have battles against good opponents, but Can we do it? That'll be the fun journey to watch this year.
It's exciting because it's such a real-time developing community. Maybe we will need a bar for entry at some point. Maybe the rules are going to need to change if like you say the signups are getting out of control. Change the rules again. Like the rules keep on changing, but it's always for the better. There's so much improvement that can still be made within this. It's impressive. That many people signing up that now that is an issue. How do you get those people on stage that earned their shot in previous seasons, that are known, that are loved? Kill Tony ran into that same problem where after you hand out enough golden tickets,
Yeah, everybody's trying to get their stage time, and everybody's also like, you see the audiences, they're like, I'm tired of Enrique, I'm tired of whatever. Like it changes. And some people who battled a lot last season might not battle this year. They might not want to battle. And that will be cool because it'll make way for like the new battlers, whatever. But just trying to balance everything is difficult. And so that's why I do want to do some more of those backyard shows, those dive bar shows, to, even if they're not the great venue of like a comedy club that we get a good crowd at, if we can pack a bunch of comics in, a few of our friends, and just have a good battle and like be able to submit that. And also I find some people who can now do the punchline, can now do Cobb's, can now do those other venues. That would be great. So hopefully over the next week or so, I'll have a few of those venues booked and loaded.
I'm looking forward to it, man. You're like the big division that could.
Yes, absolutely. Trying.
Well, I appreciate your time so much today, Josh. I'm not going to take all of it. We're coming to the end of the broadcast here. Do you have anything that you would like to plug, announcements to make? Give her.
Follow Roast Battle Bay Area on Instagram. Follow Jay Means on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok if that matters. I don't post as much on there, but whatever. You don't need to watch the special. It's not worth it. The roast is fun at the end, but the specials kind of suck. Great plugs by me. Come and see me at a show if you're ever in town.
Boom, you heard it here, everybody. Have a great month until our next broadcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.